Hi, I'm Ethan. I love muzzleloading. Today we're taking a look at this original mid-18th century German Jaeger rifle. This is a beautiful Jaeger rifle, perhaps originating in mid-18th century Bohemia based on its overall style. The Damascus barrel has a swamped profile, fine dovetail blade front sight, a notch rear sight with a decorative finial, and exquisite relief engraved rococo carving engraved with gilt backgrounds on the breech section. The only visible marking is CH inscribed on the butt plate. Every now and then when you look at original muzzleloaders, you'll see kind of a direct comparison of a expensive, really fine high art muzzleloader with a more traditional, user muzzleloader. And I think this is a great representation of a German high art Jaeger rifle. If you've seen some of the other videos that we put out a late 18th century German Jaeger rifle video that was more military use, very plain, nothing special. This is that gun on steroids, I would say. Regardless of if it's your taste or not, I think you have to respect the skill and the craftsmanship that it takes to build and assemble something like this. The narrative elements of the artwork on this rifle really set it apart from other muzzleloaders that we see from the same era, in contemporary eras, and in previous eras. Now this isn't recognizably an iconic piece. There are a lot of high art muzzleloaders out there like it, but I love seeing muzzleloaders that are decorated like this with all these scenes. On top of the breech here, we just have almost an explosion of detail coming out of the breech and the tang going up to our rear sight. It's all covered basically from here to our rear sight here. We have a lot of floral and nature patterns here, and then we get into more representative artwork as we have some pine trees and our wild boar, some branches, some other trees that then turn into more abstract floral and scroll elements up to our rear sight. Unlike some of the other rifles that we've seen, we don't have immediate flip up sight adjustment here on this Jaeger. We do have a screw that looks like we could use for some adjustment, but we don't have that flip up versatility. Once we get away from the rear sight, we can really start to see the Damascus barrel. Up until this point, really, you can't hardly tell that there's a Damascus barrel underneath all this gold and engraving. But out here we have a nice natural flowing Damascus pattern on all facets of the barrel. And then out here at the front sight we have more repeated floral and scroll elements around the front sight. It is a 60 caliber rifled barrel, and here at the fore end our nose cap is made out of horn. Even with the short barrel that we have here, we still have 3 ramrod pipes. We have 2 normal pipes and then our entry pipe here at the fore end of the stock. And just at the end of our middle ramrod pipe, we have our sling swivel here butting into some of the ramrod channel molding. Much like our nose cap, our ramrod tip is tipped in horn. And as we come back here to our entry pipe, we see a lot more of that rococo style scroll carving, really kind of mimicking or emulating the metal on the entry pipe. This kind of continues off into the wood. Now we're not able to see it a whole lot because of the carving, but right here in the fore end here, just forward of the lock, we see some nice curl in the stock wood, just giving us some more visual variation as we look at this piece. Getting back here to the lock and the lock plate, we have more carving underneath as we get into the trigger guard, which is also engraved much like the rest of the hardware with that same scroll and floral patterns. And then up here on the lock, we have a hunting dog here at the tail end, and we have a nice stag here between the cock and the frizzen assembly. Our cock is engraved as well, and the cock bolt has some nice gold gilt in here in between the engraving. Should be noted too that the front face of our frizzen has some light engraving as well, but nothing similar to the degree of the lock plate and the cock base here. Buttstock on this rifle is rather thick. It's kind of bulbous and it has some substance. And here at the toe, we have a lot of nicks and dings in the wood, kind of indicating this was carried and used at least to some extent over time. On the butt plate we have that CH mark. That's the only visible marking on this rifle. Unfortunately, we don't have any views of anything on the barrel or the outside at least of the lock plate indicating a maker. So we don't know if this is maybe the maker's mark or maybe an ownership mark from somebody down the road. The butt plate is attached with 2 screws, one kind of at the top crest of the butt plate and another down towards the toe. And it also features some of that similarly patterned scroll work and engraving. But here we have what I imagine to be a hunter or a woodsman of some kind walking through a trail in the woods. And above him, there are some flowers that almost look like owls, kind of getting into that kind of Germanic fairy tale maybe storytelling that we have here. Overall, just adding to this piece a little bit. Here in the wrist, we have a nice thumb piece of a hunting dog running across a hill, really surrounded and framed by that rococo style engraving and carving with the florals and the scroll work. The description noted the patch box here. It is very nicely done. We have a nice flower up here at the front, a little bit of carving around the molding. I want to flip it over here so that you can see the side plate side because it is just beautiful. I don't know that any expense was spared in creating this muzzleloader. We see here a hunting dog taking down a stag. The sky in this scene is all gold attached to the iron side plate. And here towards the front side plate bolt or the front lock bolt, we have a doe seemingly looking back on maybe her partner here being taken by the dog with some trees in the background. There's beautiful carving here around the tang. A lot of times we'll see a lot of wear and tear in this area just due to cast off and things from the lock as it fires each time. But all this carving seems to be pretty well intact. There are some elements of this piece that there are some cracks and some splits in the stock. I don't think they take away from the piece overall and the quality of it, but they are there nonetheless, and I think should be mentioned. Going back into our cheek piece, here we have more space for some artistic expression. We have a rather simple cheek piece here. It's not very deep, it's not very concave or anything to accommodate the cheek, but it is still there. At the front here, we have some carving that wraps around underneath the cheek rest and continues back here where we see a lot of traditional carving going on with early flintlocks like this one. This one here features some nice scrolls here wrapping around. Nothing really representative here, just traditional scroll work being carved there. Being German in design, this piece holds very well, I think. It's very comfortable. That short, large bore 60 caliber barrel there makes it so the front end of this almost has no weight at all. It's very lightweight, very comfortable to carry and shoot, I imagine, going through the German woods. Overall, I think this is one of the fanciest muzzleloaders that we're taking a look at here during this trip to Rock Island, and I think it's a fantastic piece, and I hope you've enjoyed taking a look at it. I've really enjoyed being able to share it with you here today. If you want to learn more about the muzzleloaders that are going through the Rock Island Auction Company right now, please visit the Rock Island Auction Company on their social media pages. They're posting a lot of really great high-quality images and I think serve as an important reference for many of us in terms of understanding and learning more about muzzleloaders like this one. It's not often that we see collections featuring muzzleloaders like this and all the other muzzleloaders that we're taking a look at pass through the public eye at the very least, where we're able to capture some photos and information about them to catalog for future generations. I'm Ethan, I love muzzleloading. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to learn more about this or anything else related to muzzleloading, please visit ilovemuzzleloading.com. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next time.